I urge the council to realize the truth. This is the single greatest threat we have ever faced. And if we do not act accordingly, we will not survive.
Them call we Jamaicans, and some are call we are Africans. One of the biggest deception, from the most I chosen. But I'm a living.
Coming from a background of, that's the white man's book. Who wrote that? You can't tell me who wrote that.
It's not a book. It's a weapon. A weapon aimed right at the hearts and minds of the weak and the desperate. It will give us control of it. We have to have it. People will come from all over. They do exactly what I tell them if the words are from the book.
I was an atheist, but still had an understanding of the Most High. Them times there I would say, God, I'd say, yeah, I'm spiritual, but don't come to me with the Bible. Don't come to me with the Quran or religion or anything like that. Until I actually picked up the scriptures and began to read them, understanding that when I was saying to myself, who wrote that, quote unquote, white man wrote that book, I was just regurgitating what has been told to me and what I've heard. I've not actually picked up the scriptures and read it for myself. The doctrine of Christ. What is the doctrine that's actually in the scriptures?
My name is Bradley. Growing up in a Christian household, you know, we all say God and Jesus, but not everyone really knows the Bible. My mum didn't read the Bible, but she has faith in the Bible. I was the person that say I love God, I love Christ, but I never picked up the Bible. You could come to me and say, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I didn't know. You know, and obviously then going into a lifestyle where you're out doing all types of badness, doing all kinds of, you know, foolishness.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's hard at that point. And then when you finally do pick up this book, and everything in this book, it relates to everything. You know, I haven't picked up the Bible, so I don't know what nothing means, but I know and have faith in God. I know there's a God exists. People used to come to me and be like, how do you know though? How do you know? But I couldn't tell them, but I just know.
Who wrote that?
Yeah, oh, you wrote this, or how do you know? And you wrote this book, and I couldn't tell them, but I just have faith, you know, in the book and saying that, you know what? I don't know what this means. I ain't picked up the Bible, but I know God resurrected. I know he died on the cross, and I know there's going to be a judgment. A couple years ago, you couldn't see me like this, just like this. And you know what I'm saying? Sitting in front of a book and, you know what I'm saying? No way, because it just didn't happen. But all praises to the Most High, who, you know, took the dirt out my eye and made me see that who I am, and I am his chosen. We are his chosen, and we have a job to do. We are saints, we are apostles, and we have a job to do in this world. So again, it's all praise to the Most High for, you know, opening our eyes, and we're here now to open your eyes.
Certain scriptures that stuck out to me, that put a contradiction in the mindset that I had. So I'm going to be going to the book, Song of Solomon. The Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5 reads, I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. This sparked an interest in my mind. The white man wrote this book is what's going through my head. So now I'm starting to read scriptures that are specifically giving me descriptions of skin tone and skin color. Also being told in times past that color, nationality is irrelevant in the scripture. Also that it's not mentioned within the scriptures. Having not read the Bible was under that mythology. So I'm starting to read now, and I could give you more, but I urge you to pick up your own Bibles at home and follow the books, chapters and verses that we're going through to give yourselves a bit more context. Christ comes in the volume of the book. So it's not just the New Testament we're sticking in, and it's not just the Old Testament we're sticking in, but it's the full volume. The book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1 reads, Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. Niger? What's Niger? And there you have it, right there on your screens. So now we're starting to see multiple scriptures, or I'm starting to see multiple scriptures that are specifically talking about skin color, skin tone, ethnicity, nationality. So I'm saying to myself, okay, so there's starting to become a contradiction in the earlier mindset that I had. The white man wrote this. So now I'm starting to think, if the white man wrote this book, why is descriptions being given that I can relate to and that the white man can't? So now we're going to jump into the book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 14 reads, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. I'm thinking, but I've got hair like wool, and if I pick up a 1 penny piece, a copper piece coin, and put that in a fire, that's more onto a darker complexion, a dark brown, a black complexion. So I'm starting to notice throughout the volume of the book, Song of Solomon, Old Testament, Acts, New Testament, Revelation, New Testament, there seems to be a recurring theme that, hold on a minute, this might be a black man's book. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3 reads, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. In verse 6, it goes on to say the different nations and nationalities that are against this people. And verse 12 reads, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession.
The scriptures that speak out for me were, every Israelite's favorite book is Deuteronomy. Because obviously, who are these people? Where are they? Everywhere we know about the Jews, but Jews are just one tribe, right? Which stands for the Judeans. And those were the Judeans that were in Jerusalem, right? But it doesn't make them the whole 12 tribes, because there are 12 tribes in Israel, right? And we don't know where they are. They're scattered across the four corners of the earth. So where are they, and what happened, and how would we be able to find them now? Because nobody knows. If you were to go to a Catholic church, they won't tell you. If you were to go to a Christian church, no one could tell you who these people are. And for some reason, the 12 tribes are hidden. Like you to forget about them, just like Psalms 83 brought it out. To forget about them, to cut them off from being a nation. And that's what's happened to us. We've been cut off. If we were to go to, before we get to Deuteronomy, let's go to Jeremiah. We're going to go to Jeremiah 17 really quick. It reads, Jeremiah 17 and 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I give thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Now, when we read stuff like this, this means that not when they have been cast off into their land, they will now be discontinued from the laws that has been given to Israel. Everything that the Most High has given them to make them separate and holy, they will discontinue from that, and they will not know themselves. It says, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. So in the land where they have been sent off to right now, that's where they'll lose their heritage. You know what I'm saying? So when they now go into this land now, not only will they serve their enemies, but the main thing I'm getting here is that they will be discontinued from who they are. They will not know who they are. They will not know. Now, let's go to every Hebrew favorite book. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 28. First of all, some people are watching this video and be like, well, there are Jews. The Jews are in Israel. Well, I've got some scriptures here right now that might pick your brain and make you want to itch your brain. Because I know when you think of Jews, you think of the ones in Israel. Well, I'm here to show you that today that those people are not from Israel. those people are Europeans. And this is not a diss. This is not us trying to disrespect anybody. We're here to serve the truth, and the truth is bold, and the truth will cut. But that's what we're supposed to do. You're supposed to tell the truth and say it among the nation and to everyone. Now, if we go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 7, it reads, "The Lord shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face, and they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways." So this is a blessing, first of all. This is the blessing showing how God would protect Israel if they were to follow the laws. Now, when you watch the show of the people in Israel, you think that they follow the laws, right? You wouldn't think from the way they portray themselves that they follow the laws, they do Passover, they do all these kind of things. But look at the war they have. They have war with all kinds of people. Look at what's going on with Gaza, stuff bombing them and all kinds of stuff. If that was the case, how come their enemies go and do what they want to that land? How? This says that the Most High, the protection that they will have, and right now Israel's not really protected. They protect themselves with weaponry. They have the biggest nuclear bombs. They have all these weaponry. God is supposed to be their weapon. And it's clearly that's not the case. But we're not here to talk about them. I'm here to wake you up so you can wake up others. So let's go now. Flick, and these are the ones that really spoke out to me, right? So if we were to go to the same, Deuteronomy 28, verse 36, "The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods of wood and stone." Now, like when I read that scripture before, brother, and I said in Jeremiah 17 and 5 that they will serve their enemies into that land and they'll be discontinued from their heritage. That means they will lose themselves. That's why I started off with that scripture. They will lose themselves. They won't know who they are. So this, when it says serve other gods of wood and stone, this is something that's been given to them for them to serve. So it's not them. Their fathers don't know this gods of wood and stone. They don't know this because they've been discontinued. Now, when you sit here and I said, I will pick your brain, it says of wood and stone. Now, you have to really think. What religions right now are wood and stone? You have to really think. What comes to your mind, brother, when I say wood and stone?
The wood, I would say, is the wooden cross.
There you go. Because when you go to any Catholic church or any sort of Christianity, the symbol there is always a cross. Christians wear the rosary or they wear the beads or whatever. And outside of every church, you will see a wooden cross. Every church, a wooden cross. That is the symbol. Right? Now, if I was to say stone, brother, what comes to mind?
That would be Islam and the Kaaba stone.
There you go, the Kaaba stone. These are the two religions that our people are in today. Wherever you go out, any place, you will find that our people are always in two religions. They're either Christians or they're either Muslims. Now, if you were to do a history on Christianity, you will know that the Roman Catholic Church had a big hand in our downfall and gave them their version of Christianity. The next verse is Deuteronomy, same chapter 28, and now we're going to go into 37. "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all the nations, whither the Lord shall send thee." Look at the word we get called black, coloured, Negro, nigger. These are the words that we've been called now. This is the one that got me, that shook me the most. All right? So Deuteronomy 28 and 48. "Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." Yeah? Until he has destroyed thee. Now, before I even break this down, brother, yeah, we're just going to go to 68 so everything can just marinate properly. Okay? So Same chapter, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way thereof I speak unto thee. They shall see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you, which means save you. Okay? So the children of Israel will be in ships. They'll be going to the land of their enemies in ships, and they will be in nakedness and in hunger and in want of all things.